Ya, Assalamualaikum semua.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ya, selamat malam kepada semua pendengar dan penonton kita. So, sesiapa yang telah mengikuti siri-siri Say It As It Is sebelum ni mesti bertanya-tanya manakah Zufa. Zufa selalu is the moderator kan. Jadi hari ni Zufa ada hal, jadi saya gantikan tempat Zufa. Saya Rozina, partner kepada Pak Razak. Partner dari segi dalam cara betul lah as a founder dan dalam cara betul kita punya training punya our training programs. Okay, so kita dah ini adalah episod ke-7 Say It As It Is, dan juga dalam siri-siri yang sebelumnya, especially the last 3 series or so, kita telah bercakap tentang kesilapan-kesilapan ataupun mistakes yang dilakukan kepada new businesses ni. Jadi hari ni kita akan sambung lagi, ya. Dan just to recap balik apakah critical mistakes, ya, yang telah diutarakan atau telah diutarakan siri-siri sebelumnya, ialah kesilapan-kesilapan atau mistakes that is related to the founders itself. That is people like us, we as entrepreneurs, the founders. What are the mistakes yang kita selalu ataupun sering dilakukan, dan juga kesilapan-kesilapan tentang market ataupun pasaran, dan juga kesilapan tentang produk, dan juga hari ini kita akan membincangkan tentang kesilapan on planning, ya, ataupun cara untuk kita merumuskan kita punya bisnes ni. So, tapi sebelum tu, just a very quick one, nak juga kami juga nak beritahu apakah ada 5 fasa, ya, dalam sesuatu perniagaan atau sesuatu bisnes ni. So quickly, dalam the first phase ialah kita katakan ialah the phase of exploring and discovering. Jadi apakah produk yang betul ataupun pasaran yang betul, dan juga apakah business model yang betul. Jadi first phase ni ataupun fasa 1 ni, exploring and discovery ni, ialah satu fasa yang betul-betul penting untuk kita dapat buatkan dia betul, ya. So that is what we have to do, the phase 1 to be right, so that all the other phases nanti will also be right. Jadi phase 2, dah bila kita dah tahu what is the right product, the right market, and what is the right business model for us, then we can go on and execute and manage the business, yeah. And then phase 3 ialah kita boleh scale up and grow our business. As entrepreneurs, I think that's what we want to do. Kita nak grow, kita nak membesarkan lagi kita punya business, dan di mana kita boleh add more value kepada market, more value kepada market, dan juga boleh memberi manfaat yang lebih kepada market-market kita. Dan phase 4 ialah kita boleh innovate dan juga transform. Again, why are we doing this? Supaya kita boleh dan masih lagi boleh memperkembangkan lagi kita punya value add kepada customer-customer kita dan juga kepada pasaran kita. Lebih memberikan manfaat, memperpanjangkan manfaat kita sebagai peniaga-peniaga kepada pasaran kita, ya. Dan phase 5 ni ialah sometimes orang buat, sometimes orang tak buat. It depends, kita boleh cash out. Kalau satu hari kita rasa kita dah build a good business, kita boleh langsungkan, kita boleh berikan bisnes ni kepada seseorang yang boleh melanjutkan lagi dan memperkembangkan lagi bisnes kita ni dan memperkembangkan manfaat, ya. Okay, so those are the 5 key phases, ya. So rasanya dah dalam 5 minit ni, rasanya kita dah boleh start lah kan kita punya hari ni, malam ni kita nak discuss mistakes arising from poor planning, ataupun kesilapan-kesilapan yang boleh didapati daripada poor planning lah dalam bisnes kita ni. Okay, so I dah banyak cakap dah, 5 minit dah bercakap ni, so mungkin kita boleh dengar pula daripada Pak Razak, ya. apakah what are the critical the mistake that related to planning that mungkin you can just go through with us?
Okay, terima kasih Rozina. Kita kena faham rasanya you cannot get away from planning. Nak kahwin pun kena plan, nak pergi haji kena plan. Nak pergi kerja pun kena plan, semua kena plan. Now you can have a business without planning, tapi rasa itu commit suicide lah. Planning ni tak semestinya very detail, could be just a simple plan. Tapi kita kena plan. Dalam keadaan ni kita kadang buat kesilapan. Saya pada pengalaman saya dan bacaan saya, daripada observation saya dan juga pada pengalaman diri saya sendiri, ada 6 critical mistakes silap dalam buat perancangan atau planning. I'll just list the 6 mistakes first. Number 1 is no planning at all. Tak buat plan apa pun. Bantai je.
Main bantai, gedah
je. Nike kata adjust duit, dia pun ikutlah kata Nike, dia bantai je. Lepas tu dia adjust kata. Keduanya, buat planning tapi poor planning. Planning ni bukan natural, you have to belajar sikit lah. Ketiganya, approach planning ni salah. Kita nak buat plan tu kena mengikut suasana, konteks dan matlamat yang kita nak capai lah. So kalau kita tak jelas, kita guna aja apa cara yang ada, kita pakai. Cara ni maybe sesuai untuk keadaan begini, cara B sesuai untuk keadaan begini. So got to be peka, got to be smart in using the right approach lah. Keempatnya is sorry, you want to say something, Rojana?
There is no one way lah.
Dia konteks. In konteks. Keempatnya, ini pernah berlaku, saya pun pernah berlaku pada diri saya, jatuh cinta dengan plan kita. Boleh tak fall in love with the plan? If you be working on something for the last 6 months to 1 year, that's your life, you can fall in love with your plan lah. Now, number 5 is quite common. Dia buat plan tapi dia tak buat planning how to execute. My slogan is there's no plan without execution plan lah. Now, number 6, kita nampak benda ni berlaku sekarang ya. Tapi it's quite common also, but still very critical if it happen. Tak ada plan B. Plan A je. Now, what I want to hope to do here is to discuss a little bit more detail lah tentang each of the 6 mistake tadi. Kalau ada masa
Okay. So apa ni, selalu orang cakap kan, planning ni is a double-edged sword. You buat, if you don't do it, if you don't do it well, dia boleh makan you balik lah. So kalau nak buat tu kena buat, you have to do it well, you kena buat sebaik mungkin. Then there are certain things that you have to be very aware of lah untuk planning yang betul kan.
Okay, tapi let me re-emphasize balik lah right from the start supaya kita faham betul keadaan ni. There's no perfect plan. There's only a best balanced plan that fit the situation and matlamat yang you nak capai. Right? But it's better than no planning at all.
Right.
Now, let me talk a little bit about no planning ni. Saya pernah jumpa founder or entrepreneur baru ni, dia tak convince the value of planning. Pasal dia tengok kawan dia planning bagi nak gila, siang malam fail juga. So apa hal dia aku nak plan? Lepas tu dia terbaca pula, terdengar pula video orang yang dah berjaya kata saya tak ada buat planning. Jangan percaya dia orang tu, dia penipu tu. Kalau dia tak ada buat planning betul, takkan jadi. Melainkan dia ni pilihan Tuhan betul lah. Dapat wahyu yang amat ketara lah. Tak payah plan, jadi je. Kun fayakun kata jadi.
Ataupun bertuah lah kira macam very lucky.
Ada sejumpa tak? Rasa tak pernah sejumpa. Mesti ada plan dia. Tapi plan dia tak cakap. Kadang-kadang keduanya dia tak ada format moden. Macam saya ada cerita pakcik saya toki kebau kan. Ada plan dia tapi dia tak adalah pakai kita punya template. Cara dia adalah. Dia dalam otak dia sikit, dia tulis kat buku 35 dia tu. Tu plan dia lah tu. Now, ada juga orang tak ada planning tapi dia pada orang jenis yang banyak duit. Ni bangsa banyak modal kuat. Kalau company besar, modal kuat tapi dia masih kuat lagi besar company tu, lagi kuat dia planning. Tapi ni bermula modal banyak. Punca dia Allahualam. Kita pun tak tahu. Orang modal banyak ni selalu buat bisnes tak ada plan.
Ataupun dia boleh kata, tak apalah kita try je.
Pasal dia kata rugi lah 100,000 lagi. Banyak lagi tu.
Ada lagi duit, tak apa.
Banyak lagi. Tapi kita, manusia biasa macam kita ni tak adalah dapat, we're not that lucky lah.
We don't have the luxury.
Luxury of having that kind of money. And it's very important when we are starting out where our resources are limited. So we have to be a bit more careful on how we go about starting our business. Saya tak cerita managing business ya. We are now focusing on phase 1, exploring and discovering the best business for you. And that requires some clear planning. Now, the second one tadi, first one tadi is no planning. Ni ada planning tapi poor planning. Poor planning ni because selalunya lack of knowledge, lack of skill, and then lack of will. Apa maksud saya lack of will ni? Tengah jalan dia penat, dia berhenti. Menyampah laku. Buat je lah. Planning requires some discipline. Then dia orang ni banyak confused between planning and the plan. Planning is a process. A plan is the outcome of that process. Yeah? Kita kena make sure we do the right processes to make sure to come out with a good outcome. That means plan kita ni sebenarnya the quality of a plan depend on a lot on the processes that we take. Salah proses, salahlah plan dia. And then for that you need knowledge, skills and will lah. Plan ni dapat senang. Kita kena buat plan ni. Tapi kalau you tak ada resources, tak ada time nak buat plan macam mana? So now the best situation, if your resources are limited, your time is limited, you janganlah ambitious sangat. Kalau bank tu kata saya nak plan 100 muka, tapi you tak ada resources, tak ada knowledge, tak ada time, janganlah bagi 100 muka, bagi 50 dah lah. Pasal apa, kalau you nak juga meet 100 muka kan, you will do what is commonly being done now. Apa dia? Copy and paste. Sekarang plan ni dah siap dalam internet tu pun dah ada. Buku pun dah siap.
So that means janganlah saja buat plan just for the sake of doing the plan lah.
Well, macam juga kita nak buat business lah. Jangan buat business just for the sake of going to business lah. Nak ada call card kan, nak jadi CEO. Call card CEO. Now, poor planning normally is an outcome, one possible outcome, and this is more on people who are already working in companies, no matter how big or small. To please the boss. Boss kata, I want this plan by end of November. Pasal dia nak jumpa investor December. Bila dia cakap you? Semalam. So you only got 1.5 month. Benda ni you tahu from experience takes more than that. Tapi you have to please the boss. Apa you buat? Shortcut lah.
Okay.
So you do shortcut, you end up with a poor plan lah. Now, banyak kesilapan planning ni berlaku bila basisnya, the basis or the premise or the foundation or dia punya data for the plan are mostly assumptions and it's not being verified. So a plan based on assumption will be just an assumed plan, bukan real plan.
So boleh short sendiri je lah.
Ni short sendiri ni. Wishful thinking plan. I call it the wishful thinking plan. Kalau kat Amerika dia kata the dream plan. Dia dream masuk ke dalam plan, jadi dream plan. But mistake ketiga ni yang pada saya paling ketara, which is now I think slowly banyak entrepreneurs sudah mula peka dan mengakui lah. They don't want to commit mistake number 3. Apa mistake number 3? Nak pendekkan cerita lah. Mistake number 3, start business by making a business plan. The traditional, conventional business plan. You boleh beli buku dah siap, dalam buku tu various version of business plan. Ada kursus yang boleh ambil, at the end of the day they will help you to come up with a business plan. Now, a business plan is good for established companies because you already got established data. You got established knowledge. You got established market. You know the environment. Okay? So you can build your plan based on good data. Tapi if you are starting out, a startup or somebody want to start a new business, they don't have that database. Kalau beli pun maybe tak sesuai untuk dia punya requirement lah. So they work in ambiguity, yang kata uncertainty. But they still have to come up with something that will allow them to come up with a roadmap of how to start their business. So instead of adopting the linear, traditional business plan approach to start a business, okay, I would ask them to consider, in this case, kalau orang tu kerja dengan saya, bukan consider, kena buat lah. I will not allow them to do it lah. Another approach. The most popular approach now is the business model approach. Now, I'm not going to talk too much into it because that's something that we are actually offering in our training program. Now,
mungkin you can just give what is the difference? Apa perbezaan di antara business plan ni dengan business model?
Business model.
What is the distinct?
The main distinct is a business plan you do for execution. Siap tu you execute. Business model you do for exploration. Makna apa yang you see dalam business model tu, you go out into the market and verify.
See, okay.
Bila dah verify the various component of a business model tu, baru you translate it into what I would call an execution plan.
See.
Tadi dalam business plan ni, dia masukkannya business model tu, tapi not in a form business model, but as a series of known facts. Then they translate into an execution plan within the same plan.
Okay.
So
right. So execution plan ni is it the same as business plan?
It should be a last chapter of the business plan.
I see.
Maknanya a plan, a business plan without an execution plan is incomplete lah. Because in a business plan, you want to execute to. At the time of doing or writing up your execution plan, you might uncover situation where you either lack resources or the environment is not appropriate. So you kena tukar your other components of the plan or the execution plan. But all these things, when people do business plan, are all done in the aircon office. Very comfortable aircon office kan. But very rarely, pada pengalaman saya, they consult or touch base or they engage the end customer. They only implement it that many a time, first time, they engage the customer. Now, it's not suitable for a new company. New company, dia tak tahu pun siapa customer dia. They may have an idea. They can make a certain assumption. Oh, this is my target market. Boleh. and they put it under the business model. Oh, my target market is this. Okay. But they will not accept it as the truth. They will not accept it as something that they want to use until they verify it with the target market.
Okay.
Now, how do you verify that this is the target market? By trying to understand what are the problems they are facing and what are the solutions that you are offering them. Kalau to be fancy sikit, you sebut value proposition lah. Tapi sebenarnya apa dia solution nak bagi tu? Then only can you say, hey, this is something that I want to execute. Okay. Then only you incorporate it into your execution plan. Now, what happened nowadays is because a lot of startups or new companies use a business plan. You know why? Mainly because the bank wants it.
Yes.
So they are actually executing a plan full of assumptions and wishful thinking.
Okay, so from there on, ada question daripada penonton kita, Encik Hamid. Do we review the execution plan or business plan? How often the review should be done?
The review, if it is already an ongoing company, right, there should not be a date of review. Okay. A date of review is what big companies buat. Pasal they got this massive, what we call strategic planning cycle. Kita company kecil, baru start, bila kita review all the time. That means if there's any change in any of the things in our plan,
we have to change
or in our execution plan, we have to react.
Yes, we have to react very quickly.
That's why small companies have to be agile.
Okay.
That's why I always say, don't outsource your planning. As a founder, if you outsource your planning, if there's a change in the environment, you will get caught because you are not very involved in the planning. You don't know how much that change in the environment. For example, how much does COVID-19 affect your execution plan? If you outsource it to third party, you tak perasan.
Yes.
Or how a new entrant into the market change your plan, you tak perasan. So it's always good. To me, it's not good lah. It's imperative lah. Imperative tu cakap Melayu apa? Kalau buat tak buat berdosa kan? Bukan harus lagi ni, kena buat.
Wajib.
After doing your business model, you verify in the market, you know this works, all the components of the model works, the pricing works, the costing works, the marketing works, the value proposition really is something that the customer is looking forward to. Now you want to implement kan? You translate it into an execution plan lah. And then you execute, but never lose sight of what's happening.
Yeah, I mean,
especially in the first 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, the first year, I think from kita punya pengalaman kan, the first few months tu memang kita have to be very active
and alert.
And alert supaya sebab kita tak nak waste all our resources, all our time. We have to be very agile in changing kan. So it is a mindset lah.
Yes.
And it's on the paper tu kita betul-betul kena work, because orang cakap you plan the work and you also work the plan.
Right.
Tetapi in working the plan tu, you have to be aware of what's happening and change when necessary lah. When it's really necessary, you have to change.
This is some people do not agree lah. Just because you have a plan, that doesn't mean you have to follow it 100%. To start with, there's no perfect plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
You actually cannot guess 100% correctly how the market will react. If you think based on your research lah, based on your engagement lah, based on your experience lah, oh, at this kind of price, the volume, the market will react accordingly this way. Always have that 10% doubt.
Yeah, and for even new business that we have got, kita tak ada pengalaman dalam business tu, I think we must have like 40%.
Kalau new business 90%. Unless you buy a franchise.
Yeah, okay.
Tapi kira kita faham juga new business ni market apa dia masuk. Kalau market yang non market, all you do is get another version of the product into existing market kan. So your certainty tu higher sikit lah. Right.
Yeah, so I hope Cik Hamid kita dah menjawab soalan, dan also kalau ada apa-apa soalan lagi sila bertanya ya. So anyway, welcome to all our penonton. Tak cakap welcome lagi kepada Cik Hamid yang memang pengikut setia kita. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Yes.
Bukan pengikut. Dia kita punya partner sekarang.
Cik Hamid kita punya partner ya.
Kita bersama-sama mencari kebenaran Cik Hamid.
Dan juga Liana pun memang kita punya pengikut tegar juga. Dan juga hari ini kita ada Syahizam. So thank you so much for coming, dan juga please go on, please keep on with your questions and comments. We really like to hear that. Yeah. Okay, so going back to the approach ni kan, is there anything else yang the pertinent points yang Pak Razak nak utarakan lagi?
Okay, I'm not saying that you cannot use plan. Kalau bank tu nak business plan, buatlah. Kalau ada pula investor nak business plan, buatlah. But try to not make your business plan, if you have to do it, very far off from your business model. Buatlah, jangan kita kata I don't use business plan, I hanya pakai business model saja. Tak boleh lah macam tu. Because not everybody is up to speed. Malaysian Bank only recently they recognize that it's more useful to ask for a verified business model than a business plan of wishful thinking. Ada business plan dia sebut ni, dia ada backup dia lah, data dia. Tapi kalau dia dah berniaga lama, bolehlah dia ada data tu. Kalau orang baru, data kalau ada pun data orang, bukan data kita. Kita kena sentiasa beraba-raba dia orang baru ni.
Yes.
Tapi kita nak meraba-raba dengan ada dia punya proses dia.
Dan juga ada basis lah.
Ada prosesnya, ada basisnya, ada toolsnya, ada tekniknya. Kita masih lagi meraba. Tapi kalau lah 4-5 tahun, tak payah lagi meraba-raba lah. Kita punya tools tu, kita punya proses tu diubah suai lah dalam keadaan di mana kita sekarang dah dewasa. So this is something that a lot of young new entrepreneurs, tak kira young or new lah, orang baru, dia tak perasan. Especially kalau dia sebelum ni kerja dengan syarikat besar. Saya tahu pasal saya kerja pada syarikat besar tu. Bila you keluar, then you realize, actually you don't have anything. Data yang you familiar with, even the contact list that you have, does not work anymore. You have to learn new things. But learning new things, you got to find a way. There's a technique towards learning, and there's a process that you go through. And trying to uncover the business that you want to go into, you have to learn how to do it right. Because dulu you makan gaji. Bisnes tu dah ada kat situ. Dah lama pun. Kadang macam saya dah 100 tahun dia buat bisnes tu. Semua dah ada. Proses apa yang tak ada. Manual apa yang tak ada. Macam saya selalu sebut. Nak pergi bilik air pun ada manual lah. Ada proses steps dia. Pasal dia dah lama sangat. Agak ada 2-3 orang tak ada kerja. Bos kata kau tak ada kerja. Kau buat SOP pergi bilik air. Agaknya lah. This is the mindset that we emphasize. If you want to be entrepreneur, you have the entrepreneurial mindset. One of the entrepreneurial mindset, the key component of entrepreneurial mindset is the learning mindset.
Learning mindset. So
you have to continuously learn, discover. And then when you learn, discover, if you need to change because of new learning, you must be agile enough
to change.
Jangan doge. Doge membawa binasa. Bawa padah. Now, dia ada mistake that I want to talk to you, Rosina. Planning ni kalau dibuat betul, kalau company baru tak payahlah buat lama intensif sangat kan. You have to have a strong sense of ownership of your plan lah. And you tend to fall in love with your plan. You become very protective of your plan. Okay? Because the effort spent on coming up with that plan. And when you are so protective, you become very defensive bila orang komen. And then bila keadaan berubah, it pointed out to you, you are reluctant to change.
Pengalaman je.
Cerita pengalaman lah ni. Pengalaman lah ni. Terus saya cerita ni banyak pengalaman. Tapi saya lakarkan dari segi macam nampak macam general statement lah. Tapi kita orang kampung dah tahu kita berniaga kan. Malulah kata orang kampung kita ingat. Orang kampung ingat kita pandai. Tapi sebenarnya tak pandai pun. Banyak mistake pun. Tapi the issue here is this. When starting out a business, this is the most dangerous time. Starting a business ni is the most dangerous time. Banyak booby trap.
Okay.
So you have to be a little bit more cautious. And then orang kata, kalau entrepreneur apalah cautious, tak macho kan? Pasal kita macho lah kita cautious. Kalau tak macho, bantai je. Jadi kita tak jadi entrepreneur, kita jadi orang gilau. Jadi orang gilau kan. Tapi kalau duit banyak tak apa. Mana dah tahu dapat grant 2 juta, 10 juta kan. Duit terpijak boleh. Macho lah kita. Tapi you have to be cautious. Now, the other mistake is, that's why you must faham what is planning, what is a plan. And the various type of plan. Ada plans yang strategic. Dia panggil strategic plan. Ada yang apa? Work plan. Execution plan, dia panggil work plan. Ada financial plan. Ada macam-macam plan. Okay? Tapi bila dikumpulkan dia jadi business plan. Now, kalau you still want to do business plan, but I would approach you doing business plan differently lah, based on my understanding and experience of starting a business. Many business now lah kan. A plan is not a plan without an execution plan attached to it.
Okay.
Dia dah buat plan cantik kan. Selalunya orang lain buat plan, orang lain yang execute kan. Kalau founder buat plan, dia panggil lah dia punya partner ke, dia punya manager baru, manager baru dia, this is a plan that I think will take us to the next level. Pernah dengar tak? Please execute this. Tell me if you need any support. Tell me lah tu. Sebenarnya dia tak build into that plan and execution plan. So this guy who has been given the task of executing the plan have to come up with an execution plan. To come up with the execution plan, you must really understand deeply. You have to have a deep understanding of the plan itself.
Okay.
So the maker of the first plan, the plan itself tu must also be the one who come up with the execution plan. Orang lain boleh execute, tapi the execution plan mesti dah ada.
Okay, so going back just now, there is another question from Cik Amit, okay, regarding business plan juga. We have one question from Afiq, but hold on ya, kita go through punya question, follow up question daripada business plan ni question tu. Dia tanya, business plan can be regarded as a roadmap for the company. Most of the time we build business plan based on some assumptions. What if we make wrong assumptions? How do we change and adopt corrective measures?
First, you got to know, how do you know that you have made an error?
Okay. How do you wrong lah?
How do you know? That you must build into your plan lah. This is what they call metric. Kalau orang style baru ni dia panggil metric. Style saya panggil measurement je. Sekarang dia tak panggil measurement, dia panggil metrics. METRICS. RX ke? S ke? No. METRICS. Metric. Orang lama panggil measurement. If you don't have those metrics, how do you know that you have gone wrong?
Right.
First, you got to have that in the plan, and then when you during the execution, this metric must be useful metric, not be what they call now vanity metrics. Metric ni dangerous tau. Silap-silap dia buat you feel very nice, very comfortable, very happy. Because dia punya metric tu sebenarnya doesn't tell you what is wrong, tell you things that you should be happy about. They measure the wrong things. They measure berapa orang masuk kedai you. Dia tak measure berapa orang beli kedai you. Macam shopping mall kan, budak duduk dekat big entrance tu dengan dia apa ni, counting machine tu, tak rupa dia measure apa? Oh, berapa orang masuk. Dia tanya, berapa orang masuk, you measure, you tahu tak berapa orang beli? Tak tahu. Bos tak suruh. So dia kata, bos, kita hari ni meniaga bagus, double from yesterday, bos. Tapi jualan tu yang paling penting. So metric is very important. Now, to know whether you done right or wrong, you must have metrics. Now, I like Cik Ahmed to use the word assumption.
Right.
You got to know what you are using is an assumption or fact.
What are the basis of the assumptions?
No, you got to know first, is this an assumption or is it a fact?
Right.
Some people, dia guna assumption, dia ingat itu facts. Saya gunakan selalu FAPOC kan. Facts, assumption, apa lagi? Position. Benda ni kena dijelaskan when you are doing business planning lah. The worst thing is to think of assumption as a fact. Why? Because everybody says so. Ini pandangan ramai. Kena betul lah ni.
Siapa ramai tu?
Tak kisah, pandangan ramai kena betul lah tu. You must be willing to relook at many of these assumptions. For example, you buat business baru kan, or you want to do a new business that involve using certain fact lah. For example, saya dulu banyak involve dalam syarikat minyak yang buat downstream marketing lah. Satu assumption yang kita buat, kalau nak buat stesen minyak, kena ada di main road. Bertahun-tahun itulah diajar. Saya buat real estate macam tu kan. Nak cari kat main road juga, kalau boleh kat intersection. But slowly I realize from experience that's not true. So we conduct some experiment. So those internationally held assumptions was nullified by facts. Nah, kalau kita bisnes baru, kita tak adalah energi dan possibility nak buat that kind of research kan. Tapi kita senantiasa kena skeptical. Saya dulu kata, kau tanam cili tak? Cili sekarang dia punya demand multi-million ke tu? Saya pun makin nak gila lah tanam cili. Bila nak jual, tak ada pula multi-million. 100 million ada. Multi-million tak ada. Ratus-ratus ringgit ada lah. Pasal saya tak check that fact. Rupanya dia menggunakan fact tu, tak tahu sebab apa dia gunakan fact tu. Dia present a wishful thinking. It's a government plan. Government punya wishful thinking digunakan sebagai facts. This is what's happening now.
Okay, so what it means is, Cik Amit, kita kena really how to make the corrective measures ialah untuk kita go back and check balik kita punya assumptions lah.
Your basis for your decision in planning must be something that you can defend.
Okay, kita ada 1 minit lagi berbaki, tapi kita ada satu lagi question daripada Afiq. I think we should answer this. Kata Pak Razak, when we started planning, is it okay to include our own assumption? Ni pasal assumption lagi ni. Our assumption towards market, or we only need a factual data?
Okay. Cara kita,
we are restricted in terms of budget to get some factual data.
Okay. This is how we teach. Especially for orang company baru yang tak ada banyak duit lah. Yang selalu company baru macam kita start lupa apa dana semua lah. Kita nak buat bisnes je tapi duit tak ada. Nak buat je tapi duit ada sikit lah. Pasal jual tayar spare itu ada dapat duit sikit kan. Now, I always suggest when you are new, start with assumptions. Kalau you don't have access to facts. Sometimes you are lucky. Ada government bagi data kan. Or some people do research make it public lah. University ke produce research data. If you don't have that, all use assumptions. But yang paling penting, never forget that what you are using as a base are assumptions. In other words, you can have a business model full of assumptions. Now, your next job is get out of the building, test your assumption with the right bodies, with the right people. Your assumption on, say, value, apa produk yang orang nak, go up. Your assumption on market segment, go up. Find out, betul ke this is the right segment. Your assumption on marketing, go up. Find out. So slowly you going to convert your model tadi or your plan tadi, which was based on assumption, towards one which is more based on reality.
Okay.
You cannot get 100%. Sometimes you have to prioritize. Which of these assumptions are so critical that if you got it wrong, it will kill your business.
Okay.
So you got to do prioritizing lah. Some assumption tu ada assumption, tapi kalau dia salah pun tak apalah. Boleh lagi survive, boleh lagi bertahan lah kan. Tapi kalau some assumption are so critical, to me the most critical assumption is market. You target market you salah, because target market must synchronize or sebati dengan your business or you as the founder.
Okay, so okay, kita dah overtime tapi tak apa. Producer kita kata kita boleh, because we have 2 more questions.
Yeah, okay.
Add-on question daripada Afiq ni, is it normal for a team to have different opinion during planning stage? We think our plan is the right thing and theirs are wrong, vice versa lah. But from your experience, how you settle the conflict amongst the team members? Usually happen where we are in the early stage of business.
No, yeah, you go out there and test.
Yes, I think
your team members you are actually not that smart, you know. The smartest person or the smartest group in this whole exercise are the people that are going to pay you money.
yes.
Who are they?
So
Customer.
meaning if you have conflict, you
Go out there and test it.
because at the end of the day you have an outcome. You want to disagree just to prove you are right or you are wrong. No, you have
No, the idea here is it's okay to have differences of opinion. Okay? But the decisive factor, the referee, is not the boss. It's not you. It's the market. How do you do that? You go out there and do some testing.
right.
Then the market decide.
Then you can agree what
Now, when the market decide, jangan lagi berdegil lagi. Itu yang falling in love with my idea tu.
Yalah.
Nak bertahan ke idea dia, ego sudah masuk. Setan dah masuk. Tak boleh. That's where leadership come in.
Right. One more question daripada Cik Amir. When should we cover and focus on in our execution plan? What should we cover and focus on in our execution plan? Coming back to our execution plan ni. Apa yang perlu difokuskan?
Yang paling penting execution plan ni, is it compatible with our, kalau you pakai business model, is it compatible with our business model? You are executing the right things lah. If you pakai business, insist juga nak pakai business plan, then is it compatible with what we said in the business plan? That's number 1. Number 2, capacity, capability. No matter how compatible your business execution plan is, no matter how cantik it is, tapi you tak ada capacity. And then it's not compatible pula with whatever knowledge and skill and experience that your people have. So apa ni, macam mana nak buat? Cantik benda ni. Ini pecah dunia orang kata. Tapi capacity tak ada, capability tak ada. So kena compatible also with your capability and capacity. This is one of the main causes of business failure that I've noticed.
And also, can I add that also with whatever amount of money or resources that is available that you have, it has to be compatible to that as well, lah kan?
Yeah. When I use the word capability, knowledge and skill and experience, capacity maksudnya resources lah. Time is very important. Money, and other resources lah. Network. Are you able, to do this thing because you need to use certain network lah to get things done. So benda ni must be measured along that line. Number one, compatible with your business model or business plan. Number two, execution ni, your execution plan, you must have the capability and the capacity.
That's right.
Kalau tak boleh, kita ubah balik. So here, planning very important is don't do linear planning. Jangan jadi rel kereta lurus je. Dia kena macam jalan pergi Bukit Putus di Kuala Pilah dululah, kona. So it must be something that is not linear.
Not linear, yes.
And that is ever changing.
You boleh patah balik to another route.
The word that we use is squiggly. It's squiggle its way through. Business is a squiggly affair.
Right. Okay, so kita dah overtime 6 minit ni, but I think the last mistake yang kita nak utarakan Pak Razak very quickly
adalah plan B.
Yes. So
because no plan is perfect, the world is ever changing, change is permanent, so adalah backup plan B. Not as detailed as plan A, tapi adalah backup dia.
Anything happens, you can always fall back to something lah.
Tak adalah terjerit-jerit sana kini macam running around antuk kepala kat dinding kan. Stay calm, put plan B on the table. And then review lah plan B ni, suitable ke tidak.
Alright. So, I think we had a very good discussion today and also very good questions that we have today. So, terima kasih banyak-banyak dengan penonton-penonton kita hari ini. Jadi jangan lupa next week kita akan ada satu tetamu. We will have a guest next week. So we will change a little bit. Di mana kita akan ada satu tamu di mana dia ialah seorang usahawan dan sekarang ni dia mengusahakan agriculture punya produk. Tetapi dia pernah juga have other businesses before, so kita nak bercakap dengan dia tentang pengalaman-pengalaman dia dalam bisnes dan juga kita revisit balik tentang mistakes dia lah. Apakah kesilapan-kesilapan yang dia telah buat, what are the most important thing, what are the lessons learned and how did he cope with all these mistakes and how did he overcome it also as we go along in his journey lah, his entrepreneur journey. So stay tuned next week and the week after pun insyaAllah kita akan ada tetamu juga untuk kita belajar lebih lagi daripada
business lain pula.
Business lain pula. So lebih pengalaman sebab dah beberapa minggu ni kita dengar daripada Pak Razak. So let's hear from the practitioners itself, from other businesses.
Saya pun practitioner tau.
Yalah. But other practitioners, other businesses.
Tapi old school lah, old school. Ini new school ni.
Ini kita new businesses and also environment and and other challenges that they have. Okay, so I think we can end the session today. Again, thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak-banyak sebab meluangkan masa. Dan juga lepas beberapa minggu nanti Pak Razak akan datang balik dan juga akan menerangkan some of the answers or solutions to the mistakes that we have already discussed for the past 4 sessions ni. So we can understand how we can overcome some of these mistakes. So please continue to follow us on our Facebook page acarabetul.com, Acara Betul Facebook, dan juga follow all our Get Real series dan juga all our postings in our Facebook page. So terima kasih, selamat malam dan have a good weekend. Assalamualaikum semua.
Waalaikumsalam.